What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Jagan Gaming. Alright, so today I read an article that just really pissed me off. I didn't want to believe it, but it's true. Apparently, Lucasfilm sent a cease and desist letter to Poem Studios, which is the group of individuals who have been making a Knights of the Old Republic remake. I believe they've been doing this since about 2015, 2016 time frame, and I have been following this for a long time. I could not wait for this to be released, and unfortunately, it's gone. It's no more. Okay. Poem Studios made a statement that they had a scenario for this, or a contingency, that I guess they were going to try and fight it, but they knew that they would not be able to stand up to Lucasfilm. That company is just too big for them to fight. I believe they're a really small studio. And if you really want to be technical, Lucasfilm is in the, they have the right to tell them to stop making it. It's their intellectual property. Some argue that in order for the remake to work, you have to have the original, Knights of the Old Republic loaded on your hard drive. Therefore, I guess they would have some kind of chance at fighting in court. However, they also determined that this was going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, give or take, and they knew they're not going to be able to stand up to Lucasfilms or Disney, so they're pulling the plug. Excuse me. So I saw this earlier today on Gundam's channel, and I just thought, okay, there's no way. This has got to be bullshit, and it's true. I looked it up. It's on Kotor. It's on various other media outlets online. And I was really just hoping, please, 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 tell me this is not true. But it looks like it's pretty much a done deal. I really sat back in my chair and I thought to myself, when was the last time we had a really good Star Wars game? Really stop and think about that. And I know my last couple of videos have been on Star Wars, I think, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Okay, I can't deny that. Really stop and think about it. For those of you who see this video who are Star Wars fans, when was the last time we had a really good Star Wars game? Okay, really stop and think about that. Okay, I remember back in the 90s, I was playing Dark Forces 2, Star Wars Jedi Knight, Star Wars Jedi Academy. There was the Star Wars X-Wing, Star Wars TIE Fighter. Let's see what else. There was, I believe, Rebel Assault. I'm not sure. It was an interesting story where these two rebels went off to go steal this new TIE Fighter prototype that had cloaking technology. I think it was called Rebel Assault. I really don't remember the name of the game. But back then, these Star Wars games were amazing back then. Okay. And then you had, let's see, what else came out? You had Battlefront, but of course I'm talking about the original Battlefront, and then Battlefront 2. Those games were amazing. Okay, and I played a Republic Commando. I liked that. I don't know how other people felt about that game, but I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Okay. And then you have the Force Unleashed. To me, the Force Unleashed and the sequel, to me, they were okay. They weren't bad, but I didn't have that feeling that I had when I was playing Dark Forces 2, or any of those other Star Wars games from the 90s. Okay, I just didn't have that vibe, I guess you could call it. I mean, they weren't bad, but they didn't knock it out of the park either, just in my opinion. Sorry. I know some people like those games, the Force Unleashed or whatever, but I just thought they were okay. It was nothing that I got too overly excited about. I was playing the game, then after about 5-10 minutes into it, I just thought, oh, well, okay, this isn't, But really, And then we get Knights of the Old Republic. Now the funny thing with me is that when I didn't play the first Knights of the Old Republic, I never bought it because it was a RPG game and I wasn't into RPGs. I was more into first-person shooter type. And then here's the funny thing, Knights of the Old Republic 2 came out and I bought it, not realizing that it was an RPG. Now, yeah, that sounds stupid. Why would you buy part 2 and not play part 1 first? But for some idiotic reason, that's exactly what I did. Well, I bring the Knights of the Old Republic 2 home, put it in my Xbox, and that's when I realized, oh crap, this is an RPG. And it just sat on my shelf for a few months. Okay, even though people were ranting and raving about it, I just never picked it up because I was not into RPGs. And then one day we had a 4-day weekend on the base. We had a holiday and a family down day. So I'm sitting in my apartment, bored, I don't have shit going on, and I see it sitting on the shelf and realize, you know what, I've still got this game I have not played in months. So I put it in. It didn't really take me too long to understand how the game worked. Now I'm having to learn about adding points for charisma and strength, intelligence, and all that stuff. And I guess that's why as a kid I never really got into those RPGs or anything. But next thing I know, 3-4 or so hours later, I'm still sitting there playing it. And now I'm hooked on it. Okay, it was amazing. And so I played all the way through this game. It took me a weekend to do it. And then I realized, oh shit, I need to go find the first one. So I took my happy ass right down to GameStop, walked up to the counter and said, hey, I'm looking for Knights of the Old Republic. Do you guys have it? And he looks in the computer like, yeah, here you go. And he just looked at me and was like, that's an awesome game. And I said, yeah, I know, I just played part 2. And then he gave me this really weird look. He was like, you played part 2? Have you never played part 1? And I said, no. And he gave me this look like I slapped his mother. And I just said, yeah, I know it sounds stupid, but I just played through part 2. Now I got to play through part 1. And he said, don't worry. Once you play part 1, certain things in part 2 will make sense, but it's not the same character. Okay, and I guess you could say that saved me a lot of confusion. I played part 1, and a lot of people said they like part 1 better than part 2. And I'll kind of agree with that. I did like part 1 a little bit better. I feel part 2, of course, had a lot more stuff in it, but I loved it. Okay, that was the first RPG type game I had ever played. So, in my opinion, I'm pretty sure Knights of the Old Republic, that is the last good Star Wars game that we have received. And those games came out in the mid-2000s. What was it, 2006, 2007 time frame? Oh no, it's earlier than that. I want to say 04, 05 when those games came out. So I can't think of any other Star Wars game that has really come out that was, in my opinion, a hit. So yeah, I'm going to go off and say Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 was probably the last really good Star Wars game that we received. Okay, the Star Wars Battlefront that came out in 2015, whenever that game came out, I remember falling asleep. I was sitting in my gaming chair and I fell asleep while I was playing it. Okay, I was in absolute disbelief, like, how do you fuck this up? How is this possible? All you had to do was take the original Battlefront and just give it an update, and that would have been it. That's all you would have had to have done. Most of the people playing today, they probably never played Battlefront. They probably never would have known that, hey, all we did was just upgrade it. People like me, we might have known, but then again, when was the last time I played the original Battlefront? Excuse me. Okay, everything, and so Battlefront was absolute garbage. Battlefront 2 was an abysmal, that was a tragedy. But then again, I'm not going to rehash that. There's already enough videos on YouTube about Battlefront and Battlefront 2. So I'm not going to go down that road. We already know how bad those are. Now, I do believe there is a new Star Wars game that's in development. I think it's about what happens after Order 66 with the Jedi. Or I think it's called Fallen Order, that got announced during E3 this year. So, I don't know. My hopes aren't really... this has been a bad year. Bad, past few years for Star Wars fans. Okay, the games that have been coming out have been horrible. The movies that have been coming out have been horrible. Okay, I'm still gonna do a review on Star Wars Resistance. That, in my opinion, is absolute garbage. I mean, I had to really force myself to sit through it. I mean, it just was garbage. But I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, this is once again, this is the damage that The Last Jedi caused. No, I'm not going to do that. You can only blame The Last Jedi on so much, and this is just Lucasfilm and Disney being dicks, okay? Everyone who is a true Star Wars fan, who is a gamer, wanted this remake. And if Disney, Lucasfilm, EA, if these people have brains in their heads, all they had to do was give us hell, everyone has been saying, hey, Knights of the Old Republic Part 3. And we didn't get a Part 3. We got a book, Revan. Okay, now, I actually liked the book, Revan. I wasn't so hot about how it ended. Okay, and I knew there were a few people who said they didn't like the book at all. And the thing is, with the book, I think it's an excellent read. It's just that if you have not played Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, that book will make absolutely no sense. You will be confused as fuck. Nothing will make sense. You cannot just jump into that book, because it essentially, closes the story of Darth Revan. And like I said, I wasn't too hot on how it ended. Now you also have Star Wars The Old Republic. I tried getting into that, but it just didn't grab my attention. Okay, I was hoping it was going to be like Knights of the Old Republic or something similar, and I just looked at it. I tried playing it for maybe 20 minutes, and it just didn't grab my attention. Keep in mind, I didn't play Knights of the Old Republic because it was a RPG, or action RPG type game, and in my mind, my closed-mindedness, I thought I'm not into those kind of games, so I played it simply because I was bored. But that game grabbed me and it pulled me right in. Okay, the Star Wars The Old Republic, or whatever the hell it's called, I just didn't have that feeling. I wasn't excited about playing it, and I haven't touched it since, and that was years ago. Excuse me. But really, all that Disney, Lucasfilm, and EA, really, guys, if you wanted to redeem yourselves to the Star Wars community, all you would have to do is say, hey, we got a Knights of the Old Republic remake coming. We're going to redo Kotor 1, Kotor 2, and we have plans for Knights of the Old Republic 3. Okay? That's all you got to do. And if you do it right, I can almost promise you, you would at least halfway redeem yourselves, at least as far as the gaming community is concerned. Now, as far as EA is concerned, I'm very, when it comes to buying something, an EA product, I would be willing to give it a shot. On the flip side of that, and that is kind of a double-edged sword if you want to look at it that way. On one side, I'm done giving EA my money. Okay, I mean, there's the Mass Effect 3 ending, and then there was Mass Effect Andromeda, and then there was Battlefront and Battlefront 2, and that's when I said, okay, fuck you guys, I'm done. I'm done giving you my money. You're just pumping out garbage. Okay. Now, if they were to announce, okay, we're doing a Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 remake, and we're going to follow it up with a Knights of the Old Republic 3, then that would be like an internal battle of good versus evil. On one side, like, no, I'm done giving these assholes money. But on the flip side, I would love to play that. Okay? And if they were to pull it off and do it right, then, okay, well, you're capable of putting out a quality product. What the fuck is the matter with you people? But what it comes down to is that, you know, back when I was a kid, the game developer, everything those game developers did revolved around the gamer. And today, everything they do revolves around shareholders and investors. Okay? That's why we keep getting these fucking loot boxes and all this other bullshit. Okay, so to say I'm disappointed, but then again, what do you want? It's Lucasfilm, Disney, and EA. I mean, what do you want? I mean, of course they're gonna cancel it. I mean, I don't know what the hell took them so long. I mean, did they honestly not know about it, or did they decide to, you know, give you just enough hope so they, you know, can take it away from you? But you know, it is what it is. I mean, on one side of the coin, you know, they have the right to do what they did. It's their property. They can say, hey, that's our property. You don't have the copyright to it. You don't have our permission. And then some other people would say, hey, why would you guys even make this knowing that this is a possibility to happen? But in my eyes, the point is somebody was willing to take that chance, to take that gamble. You know, they had the initiative to do something that everyone would have enjoyed. And personally, I don't understand why Lucasfilm or Disney or whoever couldn't have looked at it and said, okay, you know what? Maybe we got something here, and couldn't have had some kind of legal, you know, agreement between the studio and Lucasfilm, and they, you know, and in my opinion, that would have probably worked, but I'm no legal expert. So it is what it is. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Holy shit, it's 12:30. So if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe. Feel free to leave comments down below, and I will see you guys next time.